How is diversity working in government? I mean, isn't the government supposed to be as diverse as the people that the government serves? And if anyone should be able to figure that out, wouldn't you think that government jobs would be the most diverse of all jobs out there? But is it true? More on that in just a moment. My name is Beate Chalette. I am a strategic advisor from startups to Fortune 100 companies, and we help leaders to make an impact in three categories through workplace unification, through leadership development, and business blueprint and strategy development. So, in the workplace unification portion of things that we do, we are looking a lot at the data and believe that the data always kind of tells the story. So, I came across this article and I'm just going to look down here as I'm citing some of these numbers. And this article was published in Black Enterprise and it cites a study that was done by government jobs.com, which is a website where you can apply for government jobs. And the article says that Black women are 58% less likely to be hired than white men. So that's a huge number. So let's take a look at that. So the research shows that there were 17 million applicants in 2018 and 2019 that wanted a government job. And in the qualified candidate. So this is really critical because a lot of times, the blabber goes already off here and it's like, well, what makes you think that they're qualified? We talk about qualified candidates, right? So these are qualified candidates for the jobs. And they said that qualified Black women are 58% less likely to get these jobs. So now we're looking into kind of what do these numbers really mean? And sometimes I think when we look at diversity, you also want to look at, what is the overall number of white people? What is the overall number of Black people? What's the overall number of Hispanic people? Because when we achieve true diversity, it kind of should be somewhere in relationship, right? So if there's many more of that, then chances are many more of that are represented. So that in itself doesn't bother me, and I don't scream foul when I see that the representation of the races is represented in diversity, because you cannot take a minority group and make it a majority job holder if there just isn't, if there just isn't not as much there. But the flip side of this is that when you look at certain particular jobs, and so certain categories of jobs, we know childcare, we know hospitality attracts a larger number of women. And we are now saying, well, isn't diversity also when that is balanced? Well, I mean, you can't tell people that only a certain number of percentage can be interested in a particular job and a certain percentage can be interested in another job. I mean, when we see the discrepancy, we as business owners need to go and look, why are we attracting disproportionately a certain kind of category, and why is another category not interested in that, right? And then we'll take measures to offset that. But that is a different issue. The issue we're talking about now is that, in this, out of these 17 million, 28% of application are sourced from Black candidates. This is, to my knowledge, pretty congruent sort of with the fabric of America. But out of those, only 18% of Black people are actually hired in the public sector. So now that number falls off disproportionately. So, and from that, the most significant drop off is qualified Black women that are now 39% less likely to receive an interview than white male counterparts. So, what that means is that what we see continuously and why diversity is often so challenging is that the people who are making decisions are a majority of decision makers are white, male, middle-aged. And when you have a group that is in charge of most of the decision making, not all, but most, They are looking for people they can relate to. They're looking to bring in people they understand that are just like them, which is normal. I mean, you wouldn't go out and find friends and say, I'm going to find people that are completely different than I am, have nothing to talk about. I mean, you wouldn't do that, right? And so that's the philosophy, I think, when you're not actively aware of what diversity really means, when you're not counteracting that programming of doing what you naturally would do, you can never achieve diversity. Today, I had an executive roundtable, and it was an interesting conversation because somebody said, well, Google has a specific process where they hire for culture. And only if you master this particular process, then you can even be considered at Google. Well, Google has a huge diversity problem. Why? Because they have a one size fits all approach. And only if you squeeze everybody through their process are you going to be accepted. That means they're going to just get more of what they already have because they're not changing the formula. So if diversity of thought is the goal, and diversity of thought should always be the goal, right? Then you have to make sure that the formulas, your hiring formulas, are of such that it really allows gender neutral and ethnicity neutral hiring, and eliminate these aspects to achieve the goal of what is always the biggest pet peeve of all white men, where they believe that there's a quota for women, a quota for a minority race, that it is an unfair advantage and that all these candidates are qualified. If you remove in the interview process or in your intake criteria all these particular aspects, then truly only the candidate's qualifications by itself can stand up for itself. That is the goal. So I hope this helps you with how to hire more diverse candidates and to really understand that diversity in your organization can only be achieved if you change much of the formula on how you're looking at qualified candidates to hire. This is Beate Chalette. I thank you for being here and for watching. If you have any comments, please leave them in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more information on workplace unification, leadership development, and business. Thank you so much.